Are you an entrepreneur? If you're a real estate agent, you absolutely are. You're gonna wanna listen to this podcast. I'm bringing in Julie Hudash, the ultimate entrepreneur in the nonprofit world, which if you think real estate is hard, try building a nonprofit that can sustain itself. Welcome to another episode of the Agent's Playbook. I am truly excited today. Julie Hudash. There's a little bit of a twist on this particular podcast because Julie is not in the real estate industry.
I am not.
Yeah, so she's in the nonprofit world. And I know if you guys hang in there with me a little bit, hopefully this is going to make some sense of why I'm interviewing Julie today about real estate when she's not in the real estate industry. What I wanted to talk today about is entrepreneurship. Because one of the things when we first met, first of all, before we get started, let's tell everybody who you are and kind of what you're about. So give everybody a quick synapse of who you are,
Perfect.
what you do, and things of that nature.
My name is Julie Hudash, and I am the founder and CEO of a nonprofit called Team Kids in our 23rd year, and empowering the next generation of entrepreneurs, philanthropists, and leaders from Compton to Harlem.
Very nice. So, and we met about 15 years ago?
Yeah, it's been a long time. They're great years.
Time flies. So, and I'm catching, I don't know if I caught you off guard a little bit about what my topic was, and this is something you usually don't talk about. Part of your program kind of instills this in the kids, but really what I wanted to talk about today is whether you know it or you don't know it, or whether you believe it or you don't believe it, you are one of the most fabulous entrepreneurs that I've gotten an opportunity to be acquainted with, to meet and have a relationship with, and our relationship has been built over the years, but I've always been fascinated about the behind the scenes, and we very rarely talk about that. Actually, I don't think we ever talk about that.
Think so.
You know, behind the scenes, there's always a lot of conversations that go on about, hey, how are we going to sustain this? How are we going to keep it going? Where's the money going to be coming from? And you guys out there, the audience and the real estate industry, those are a lot of the same questions that they have because they're independent contractors. They try to figure out where that money's coming from, how they're going to sustain their business, grow their business, and dealing with an ever change. And you've done it. You mentioned 23 years. We're going on 23 years. Yeah. It has not all been like joy and ease and, you know, perfect growth year after year and all of that stuff. There have been many setbacks, many challenges that have come. COVID affected, just like it affected the real estate industry, completely changed what you were doing overnight. So my question to you is, I want to talk entrepreneurship. And I want to start from you as an entrepreneur. Why did you start this organization, and what was the root cause of this?
Wow, this is actually a topic I'm really excited about. So thank you for bringing this up.
You're welcome.
Not our typical conversation for sure. You know, I truly am an entrepreneur. I'm a social entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So when I think of our mission with Team Kids, at the end of the day, you know, it's not how much revenue we made, it's how many lives that we changed. But other than that specific distinction, I'm like a full-blooded crazy entrepreneur, and my vision is to really change the way our world runs through empowering our next generation. And you know, I never realized at the beginning when I started Team Kids just what it would take to really endure 23 years and become a national model. Mm-hmm. You say setbacks, oh my gosh, I mean, there's been so many times where, you know, I paid my staff and not myself.
Yep.
I questioned, like, I can't do this anymore. I need to find something else to do. But again, in the mission of Team Kids, it's really about the fact that young people matter. So for me, since it wasn't a financial type entrepreneurship, there's really not an exit plan, because for me to say I'm not going to do Team Kids anymore is a big statement that kids actually don't matter.
Right.
But I just am inspired. I'm inspired by the dreams of young people to help kids that have cancer, bring joy to people who are sad, and it's just this wide open compassion and and excitement for a life of purpose. And it's through their entrepreneurship of learning how to start businesses, to raise money, to impact an issue in the community that is just so tireless and natural. And so I think it really spoke to not only my entrepreneurship spirit, but just my desire to know that my life would make a difference for young people. Okay. But it has been an entrepreneur journey, like similar to, I'm sure, all of your guests, where you're up at 2 a.m. going, how do I make this work? So it's been a journey.
Those are some of the things that I want to talk about. So in our world out there, in the real estate world, we have adversity that presents itself on a regular basis, and that's a lot of what happens. And there's always a lot of struggle. And being involved and working with you for the last 15 years, we've been involved in some struggles. So I want to bring up a couple of struggles, and I don't necessarily want to talk about the struggles, but I want to talk about the thought process about overcoming them, because you've talked about staying up late at night and having, paying the staff but not paying yourself. And I remember situations where we were on an event and we literally ran out of money. Basically a quarter of the way through the event. I mean, we were in a 14-day event, and we were literally flat broke, had no money. The credit cards were all maxed out. We tapped out pretty much every resource that we had, and we had 50.
It's funny now. It wasn't funny then.
It was not funny then.
I just have to interject.
But really the point that I want to talk about is, in that moment, we're waking up and we're having conversations and we're putting on a face like everything is perfect. Yeah. Oh, hey, everybody on the bus, let's go. Here we go. We're off to the next project. It's business as usual for the outside, but internally, we were sitting there like, what the heck?
Terrifying.
Yes. So share a little bit about that. And, how do you differentiate the two of, hey, we've got a job to do, but we are truly in a situation sometimes where there's some other chaos going on in the background that we can't share.
Yeah. I mean, I just have to say part of the reason we were in that is because we had several grants for the trip that hadn't arrived yet. Yep. And it was super exciting to have an American Express card with an unlimited balance that we learned actually does
Didn't have. Did
so
not.
Anyways, we were in that situation without being irresponsible. But it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. I'm sure just like your real estate agents too, when things are rough behind the scene and you're working with a buyer and you want to be like, we got this all under control. And then you leave and you're like, oh my gosh. But I think it's just being able to constantly reprioritize, have faith that things are going to work out, but know who your customer is. So for me, my customers, my clients, for the most part are 6 to 12 years old.
Right.
And I know who my customers are, my clients.
Right.
And I mean, so I think in a situation like that, it's understanding the responsibility that we have for those young people on that bus trip from Irvine to Manhattan, New York City, ground zero, and making sure that the issues that I was struggling with, that we were struggling with, didn't impact the experience and make them feel insecure. But I think sometimes I think back to those times that are so gnarly, and at the time it's just like, get me out of here. Like, I don't know. But I look back and I think we made it work, and it was amazing. So it's like that perseverance, which I think, for me, I learned from being an athlete for years, just you don't quit.
Right.
And you know what? If you just keep showing up and you sit and you look long enough, some little door will open, and then you got to pack all of that hope through that teeny little sliver in a door. But I think just staying focused on the job at hand, and our customers.
Kind of paraphrasing what you said, kind of knowing, I mean, obviously we knew our mission and knew at that particular moment, who our clientele really was those kids and their experience and what they needed to do. And everything else, we figured out a way to make it work. But, it's funny because some of the things that came out of that, I think that was one of the most growing moments for us as an organization, because we went through so much adversity in such a short period of time that we walked away from that as such a huge learning experience.
Absolutely.
And you're right, it wasn't we didn't walk into something irresponsible. we thought we had it covered, and
Yeah.
we got thrown curveball after curveball after curveball, and we swung and missed, swung and missed, and swung and missed. Heck, I would even say we struck out a couple of times, but we came back up to bat.
Yeah, we did, and
And-
got a home run.
Exactly.
I think that experience too, I have to say, for our customers, which are those 40 teens that were on that bus, that was 6 years ago, and those teens are now adults, and all of them say it was the most important experience in their entire life.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the lesson too, as we behind the scenes are paddling like crazy.
Right.
We managed to create an experience that was so life-changing.
I love it. I love it. So, knowing our mission. So, I'm going to ask you another question. I'm going to follow this up with another question. Because entrepreneurship is part of your mission and going into the elementary schools with your program, tell me about that and why that was. It doesn't sound like that was intentional, or was it intentional when you did come up with the program, or is it just it turned out to be a byproduct?
It's actually a great question. I've never been asked that, but it's actually a beautiful question because when I first started Team Kids, then Kids Helping Kids, it was really about a 4-week program to address a certain issue like hunger and homelessness. And there wasn't an entrepreneurship piece to it,
Right.
which is the closing end where all the kids create businesses and raise money for the charity of their choice. It was actually an idea of our kids. And I've never actually said this
Sweet.
out loud.
Okay.
It was my older son, Jonathan, and his friend, Max Potkin, and Jack Ames, and they came and they said, what if we have a carnival and we raise money? And I was like, ooh, that's going to be a lot of work. And then the principal was thinking, I'm going to let all these kids have a carnival. So it was actually the idea of the kids coming from the spirit of entrepreneurship of like, instead of just bringing food for the hungry, what if we could raise money?
Right.
And so it's such a powerful part of our program. And without going into details, but we meet with the kids who volunteer to be on the leadership team during school, during their lunch hour. And the first meeting, they brainstorm all the issues they want to change in the world. They vote on one democratically, so it might be kids that have cancer. And then the next few weeks, they're all empowered and mobilized as entrepreneurs. So the next meeting, we actually ask kids, what is a business? And a lot of them know.
They do.
And then I say, what is an entrepreneur? And some of them are like, I think that's when you start your own business. And then we ask, what is a philanthropist? Very few kids. So like, say we're in Compton, and we get to say, by the end of this program, you are all going to be entrepreneurs, start your business, and be philanthropists. And so they get a business plan, and they actually fill out their business plan for a carnival game of which they're creating with their friends, and ultimately sell tickets, host a big carnival, and the money goes to the charity of their choice. So the spirit of entrepreneurship is at the core of what we do, in the sense that it's entrepreneurship to raise money to affect change in the world.
Yes.
So it's the core of our school program. And it is, at first they're like, I don't know, like, how do I create a slogan for my business? Or what if this doesn't work? And then you go to the end and you just see the pride and confidence of owning their business and that growth. And they often talk about that when we ask what matters. They're like, it's helping me learn how to have a job. It's helping me learn how to talk to people. It helped me learn how to create not only a business, but present it and make money. So it is a very deep core of what we do.
The social skills that come in alignment with that. And when we first met, it was about 15 years ago. When we first met, you introduced Team Kids to me, what it was about, and really, I walked into it helping the organization, but still really didn't have an understanding. And then we went to a carnival, and this was one of the most amazing part of this carnival wasn't the fact that we had the carnival. I was involved with the leadership and helping you out with the 4-week program leading up to the carnival, and I remember you gave me a quick training. Okay, you sit there with the kids. They're not allowed to come up with games that are dangerous. Okay. So when they say throw darts at the thing, we have to kind of guide them in a direction where it's a little bit safer.
Our police partners would not like that.
Exactly.
No guns.
Exactly. So, those were the guidelines. And they have to also, it has to be a game that they can, try to formulate themselves on their own budget, things that they have out, in the garage or whatever it is. Yeah. And I remember sitting in front of 4 kids, and they looked at me and they said, we want a dunk tank. And I said, And I remember Julie had prepped me. Okay, well, a dunk tank costs money.
Free and no-cost products.
Exactly. I said, so the dunk tank costs money, and that's not something that, it's got to be something of this situation. And you guys rethink this. And then the bell rang, and I said, we'll meet again next week, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys got. And the next week, the meeting came, and these kids pulled out a wad of cash out of their pockets and plopped it down on the table, dunk tank. And I looked at them, and the first thought that I had in my mind was, all right, which one of you talked to which parents and talked them into giving you money for a dunk tank? Oh, no, Coach Nestor. We all opened up lemonade stands every single day for the last week. And this is the money we raised. And I had that aha moment right there of, holy cow. That's the future there, and that's these kids taking it to the next level, and these kids creating their own mission and solving the problem themselves at a level that I wouldn't even. I don't know.
You're like, I can't do that. That's too hard.
Right,
move on to the next
exactly.
in our world. Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was all like, I'm sold. I'm sold at what this is really doing for the kids. And that was probably the thing that hooked me, because that entrepreneurship, I love to see that in people.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that got me. So anyway.
It's kind of time to turn the tables. When you think of entrepreneurship, we had a young boy who was part of an effort to raise the life of a little boy who was dying, save the life. To raise money to get him for life-saving heart surgery, and they did it. I mean, it's a different story that is just so amazing and was in the LA Times. But I just remember one of the reporters asking one of our 10-year-olds, "What if you can't do it? What if it's impossible and you can't raise enough money to get him there?" And he just looked right at the reporter, right in her eyes, and just said, "Impossible means we didn't try hard enough." So when you think of turning the tables for us as entrepreneurs, whether it's a social entrepreneurship or in the real estate industry, you think of that dunk tank, right?
Exactly.
Like, what can we do if we just don't assume it can't happen? And it's like that kind of thinking as an entrepreneur that keeps you on task to find that. And then, again, knowing your customers, like that carnival. That's part of the training of the leaders and the leadership team, is knowing that your customers, you might be 10 or 11, most of your customers are going to be 5 to 8. So what would be fun for them? And how do you interact with them so they enjoy your business? So it's really exciting.
But one of the things that I heard you saying that I want to bring to the front is, so often we stop because of the limiting beliefs. So we have those limiting beliefs that we can't do this, we can't do this. And one of the beauties of your organization and dealing with the kids is, they haven't gotten that yet.
No.
Yeah, they haven't been taught. The society hasn't gotten in the way and told them no, you can't do that. And that's really the reason for the organization. There's a lot behind what you do that helps the kids keep that alive into their teens, into their adulthood, young adulthood, and then forever after. For us, it's that everyday reminder, and it's so refreshing to just be reminded. If I'm having a bad day, you can go to a carnival and see what they do, and yes, the possibilities are all there, so it's very exciting. But we can talk about this forever, everybody. In closing, what would you like to close with about entrepreneurship and talking to the audience of, just tell the agents, what should they be doing with regard to entrepreneurship when there's struggles?
Right.
Pretend you're
struggles
6 or 7.
And those obstacles, to just get around them. Think of innovation. I think we sometimes, as we get older, we think of an issue or how we're doing things because it's how we always do things. And the world is changing so much, and how we do business and how we work. And so those things that always work for us might not work anymore. So I think sometimes I do that when I feel like I've hit an obstacle and I feel frustrated and I think, gosh, this has always worked. It's like, slow down, pause, rethink of like how we're addressing that situation. Is there someone who I might not normally work with that has expertise in this area? Because so much is changing, and if you're doing something really worthwhile that you really believe in, and it's something that you're passionate about, don't give up.
Don't give up. I love it. Thank you, everybody. Please, I'll put Julie's information down below, so if you like what you heard or you wanted to check out Team Kids, we'll put all her information down below. Please like and subscribe, and if you have any questions or comments, let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you.